Okay, so how did Trump misplay the Charlottesville fine Nazi lie by omission? Well, I did a video, Dead Dems Walking, okay, about a month ago, where I explained that the Charlottesville smear that Trump had said that there were fine people on both sides of the Nazi Antifa fight, which was stupid. But yet they smeared him and said he said the Nazis were fine people. And that means all Trumpers are supporters of a guy who likes Nazis. And that target's been on their backs for the next 3 years. Now, that threat has been felt. I mean, now I'm going to explain how I can figure out moves that maybe the Don didn't. Because I used to be known as the professor at the Trump Taj Mahal, best poker player in the world, because I see moves others don't. And I'm going to describe how Don misplayed this move completely. It could have actually been his ace of trump, and instead he's playing it like some deuce. So here's the threat. Now, when they ambushed the kid in Portland, the Trumper supporter in Portland, the demonstrations that night were saying, who's going to mourn one less dead Nazi, right? Who's going to mourn one less white supremacist? Because that's the tag that's been labeled on the people because of the Charlottesville lie, where Trump said, find people on both sides. Now, what they cut out, and that's what makes it a lie by omission, is the second line.
I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
That part they cut out in order to be able to claim that the people he was talking about were the Nazis and the white supremacists, and he specifically said it wasn't. So, the big lie of omission is based on this quote being deleted.
I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
So that 6 seconds is the most powerful 6 seconds in the whole debate, because it's the part that the Democrats had to cut out in order to trick their supporters into believing that Trump was calling the Nazis fine people when he specifically said he wasn't. Wow. So you have caught the Dems on a lie by omission, but this is one hell of a smear. It got the kid in Portland killed. It's put a Nazi label on the backs of all Trump supporters on a lie. More people are going to die. Now, I once saw this one lady with a sign saying Nazi lives don't matter. And yeah, in America, it's okay to punch a Nazi now. It's okay to kill a Nazi. Who's going to mourn a dead Nazi, right? Just got to label the guy a Nazi, and you got a right to have the Dems kill him. Wow. So anyway, now, so Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator, whom I follow and enjoy very much, he complained about Trump not defending that and shooting it down enough because he feels the target. He knows if he showed up at Berkeley, he's well known, he'd probably end up in a wheelchair. And he probably would do it to him. The hate is out there. They've been hypnotized into hating Trumpers whom they've been told are Nazis. Wow. Now, I did another video next called Lift the Charlottesville Nazi Target Off Trumpers' Backs. And that was basically the same argument. Now, how could you do that? Well, you could play this tape right in their faces.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
And then demand an apology. I mean, no one has ever in 3 years pointed out the lie of omission by playing the part they omitted and demanding an apology, except me, the Taj professor. So I'm the only person, looks like in the whole world, who appreciates that playing the clip of the omitted parts.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Right in their faces and say, now apologize. And I want you to apologize for having believed it, okay? If you're not one of the guys who knew they were cutting out part 2 to smear them with a lie by omission, you got suckered by the lie of omission. You still got to apologize for having believed something you could have checked, and you didn't. and you smeared someone and probably got someone killed as a Nazi, right? So, come on, you contributed by cheering on the death of Trumpers, all right? And that is what's going on right now, and that's what's scary. So Scott Adams was very scared, and his solution is go read the transcript. He should have told them, go read the transcript. You'll see in line 2 that he says,
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
and all the people that he sent to go read the transcript, none of them came back to apologize. None. And he's wondering, gee, I guess that's not working very much to make them appreciate the error of their ways. Now, I pointed out that I press this button.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
And I say, that's the part your side cut out. Okay? I need an apology right now for having smeared me and my friends as Nazis because we support Trump. Now, I'm not an American, so I'm a Canadian who's just living the adventure. But anyway, that is what the Trumpers could be saying to the Democrats. I need your apology for having believed a lie by omission that you didn't check. And you could have checked. And we were screaming it was in part 2, and you never went and read paragraph 2. So here I'm playing it for you. There it is. Now, apologize right now for having been duped or having duped other people. Wow. Now, here comes Trump now. And he just publishes a list of 38 denunciations. Now, in my last video where I called it Trump Demands Apology for Fine Nazi Hoax, and I put a question mark in case he doesn't. And he didn't. But I pointed out how people are always saying, hey, you're walking it back. He says, I did a denunciation. And the reporter said, yeah, 2 days later. So he now has a series of clips out there, 38 times that he has denounced the white supremacists and the Nazis over the years. A laundry list. And what does Scott Adams say about laundry lists? When you don't have a good one, you come up with a laundry list. That's why all the people, if you ask people, what's the worst thing Trump's ever done that came true of your fears in 2006, in 2016? Gee, they're not going to remember one, but they'll come up with a laundry list of little things. So here's Trump with his 38 denunciation laundry list. And in it, number 12 is the ace.
I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
So he's got the original one from the event listed as number 12 in his compendium of 38. So it's buried. Who's going to notice that this is the one that proves the lie of omission, which lets us demand apology? So the Don really, all Republicans have really misplayed this. And now you understand why I took out the site smartestmanonearth.ca and smartestman.ca, because the great Canadian gambler, the professor at the Trump Taj Mahal, sees stuff that the slower people do not. Let's just go back in the last few years of all the hoaxes you got suckered by. Okay, Black Lives Matter. Oh, cop killings are going up when they went from 38 in 2015 down to 10 in 2019. So the rioting was over cops doing better. And then systemic racism is out of control. Hey, you had human rights tribunals. Didn't you go complain? Duh. So there is no systemic racism since Star Trek days. So there's two things you got fooled by. I didn't. COVID-19. Fauci went in there and he compared the flu's IFR to Corona's CFR. He compared apples to oranges to amplify the threat by a factor of 100. And you got suckered. And then the WHO announced that this is the only virus in history that transmits without any symptoms. Got a lockdown and got a social distance. And on June the 8th, they announced, oh, we ain't found any. Very rare. So the next day they walked it back and said, but keep wearing your masks and social distancing while we keep checking. And 4 months later, nothing's changed. It's still very rare that it transmits without symptoms. Look at all the kids who never die, hardly get it and beat it right away. They're shutting down schools. Isn't that bright? So many things you've been fooled by that I haven't. And last but not least, Greta with her global warming, and they got caught using a trick to hide the decline in temperature. They hid stuff. These are hiders. This is the worst thing you can do in science, is hide stuff. And they did it. And so CO2 is not driving temperature. How do we know? Because since 1998, it's been going down. Think about that. 1998, it's been going down, the decline. It hasn't been warmer since. But all they got to do is pull out the little shiny thing and go, warmer ever, warmest ever. Just keep believing, warmest ever. And the mainstream media hypnosis makes the suckers believe. So there's 6 stupid things that you guys believe that I don't. And now I'm trying to tell you that Trump, by using the 6-second clip from the event, can demand apology. And any Republican can demand apology. And they should. Now, it looks like the plan is to dispute the results of the election. I mean, you got Trump with his 25, 50, 60, 70,000, not 70, 57,000 people attending his rallies, and Joe Biden with his 6 or 8. Oh, but we're social distancing, just playing safe. He's playing dangerous with his 50,000 people. So anyway, notice how there haven't been many large spreader events? Maybe healthy people don't get it. Maybe it really is only old people with frail conditions who get it and die. Wow. So anyway, all they're going to do is, and they've set it up, they've announced, Facebook has said they're going to shut down the Trump campaign if Trump wants to say, I disagree with the results of the election. And now all they got to do, Dorsey and Zuckerberg, is announce that, hey, Biden won. The computers say Biden won, and then shut down anybody who wants to complain, because they've already said they're going to do that, right? And after all, the polls said he was going to win. Well, that explains all these crooked polls. Now, you just got to look for Humphrey and fixed polls, and I did a short video about how you can fix polls with the lead-up questions to get what you want. He got 2 answers, the opposite answers, just with the lead-up questions on the same issue. So polls are a joke if you don't know what the lead-up questions are. And in this case, they might not even be true, because would you want to admit to a pollster that you're voting for Trump when they might pass it along to Antifa and they're going to come and kill you? Okay, they're talking about these truth and reconciliation commissions if the Democrats get in. That's going after all the Trumpers. So you got a right to be scared. These people are crazy. So, but they would do it. They have the power. They just got to announce that the computers say Biden wins. It doesn't matter how many people showed up to the polls. The computers say Biden wins. And the polls were right. Bam. And what's anybody going to do? Shut them down. So now, there's going to be riots if Trump wins, because it's an excuse for the looters to get out there and grab some stuff. So, what can you do to prevent the rioting? Well, you can explain how Black Lives Matter lied to them, and that cops were actually killing less and doing better. And there is no systemic racism, so there's no reason to be out there screaming about racism. And as for looting the stores, well, you'll note in all my videos, I always talk about interest-free credit cards at the Federal Reserve, which would immediately tell the broke guy who wants to go out there and steal himself a pair of sneakers, loot himself a pair of sneakers or a washing machine, stop off at the bank next day, get an interest-free credit card and go buy it, and then try and pay it off over the rest of your life. Because otherwise, if you really want to show up and try and loot it, well, I don't know if we shouldn't be pardoning police who shoot looters. Remember Richard Daley in Chicago? He said, looters, we're going to shoot them. Bam! How many looters do you think you had? Well, I think that if you're going to a peaceful protest with a can of kerosene, I would pardon the cop who shoots you. If you're going to a peaceful protest with a laser that can blind people, I would pardon the cop who shoots you. I would pardon a lot of cops who shoot armed people going to a peaceful protest. So, without infringing on the rights of any peaceful protesters, I'd like to see the guys who are going there with not peaceful intent shot. Good. They deserve it because they've caused a lot of deaths so far. Now, of course, how do you get the message out? Well, you would think that I've been pushing this story about the Charlottesville, how you can, it's the ace. Trump's got it buried number 12 in his compendium. Imagine that. Go look at number 12. It's the Charlottesville one. It's the one that works all alone, and he's got it buried in a list. Ask Scott Adams how bright that is. He's got the ace, and he puts it in the middle of his list. So I'm saying that I would play the ace right in your face, and I would demand the apology. And by demanding the apology, now you got the Democrats asking themselves, what are they asking us to apologize for? And then we say, for believing the lie of omission and not checking before you believed that we were Nazis and you approved and did not mourn our being killed. I want an apology for you not mourning the ambush, the bushwhacking of a Trumper in Portland. I want you to apologize to me because you thought that was justified. You did not mourn that dead Trumper because you thought he was a Nazi. I need an apology from you for having believed it, or from you for having cut out part 2 and lied. So this is the most important thing we have. This one little clip here, the 6 seconds, and I have it at my site. Now I've now got it at YouTube. Just look for Trump, not the Nazis. Okay, that's the name of the. It's only 6-7 seconds, but anyway, Trump, not the Nazis. Now. So, I think that I've been shadow banned because how do you explain all the Republicans whom I've sent this to not being excited and going, oh, wow, we can turn the Charlottesville smear to our advantage. We can make all the Democrats apologize for either doing the lying by omission or being suckered by the omission. One or the other. Either way, you wish these people dead, and you got to apologize for that. Okay? You approved the killing of the kid in Portland, the Nazi, right? The Trumper Nazi, because you thought Trump said that about the Nazis. And now you find out they lied to you and they hid it from you. Your people. So you owe me an apology, even if you're just an ordinary Democrat and you just believed it. You shouldn't have believed it without checking. And you did. That's your flaw. So that basically is the solution for Republicans, is to play it and demand the apology, because that immediately gets them saying, what are they wanting an apology for? Because your side lied and you fell for it, sucker, into hoping we would be killed. Because when you call someone a Nazi, you're saying we hope they take him out before it's too late, right? So anyway, it approves a death sentence. So that is my video just before the election, and I hope that someone can take the idea and take the 6-second clip, number 12 on your list, Mr. Trump, and play it for the world over and over and over again and demand an apology for having cut that part out of the story. All right.